Today in the shop, we'll want to work on Luciano's ZX7R fuel tank. It's had a problem that I resolved already on a previous video of orange peel, but just ironically enough, at the end of making that video, I got an email of somebody in Australia named Stephen Walker who had a problem with orange peel and sent me some pictures and asked me for some advice. So I thought I did that already by email, but I thought I'd include that orange peel information on this video with a little storyboard. And I think if you've ever had to deal with orange peel, this is good information. And if you've ever had to lay out a paint job, yesterday's video is even better. Today I was originally going to work on the MT-09 wheel, but to my surprise, it looks like a bright sunny day. And rather than work on a wheel, which I don't need a bright sunny day to do that, there's no more painting left to do on it. So what I thought I'd do, and there is painting to do on this, I'd like to get the bottom of this painted today and maybe get the black painted. But here's the ultimate irony is I come down early this morning and do my email, and there's some emails from Stephen Walker in Australia. So I'm not sure I can show this. What I'm looking at here is from Stephen Walker in Brisbane, Australia, who's painting and he's having trouble. It's drying like 80 grit sandpaper. Now usually that would mean pressure is too high, so whatever he has, lower it some, and the paint is too thick and it's too cold all at the same time. And this is the fairing. Now we just talked about yesterday about lining up part of the fairing with part of the seat or whatever, and he had to make a correction on this. Stephen, I just put it on yesterday's video. But anyway, he watches the videos on the way to work, so, and he says he's a healthcare worker, so we'll try to help. I'll send him a detailed email of what I think, but bottom line is, it looks like you have too much pressure, and the paint may be too thick. And that's, I think, what makes our channel worthwhile, and the sharing of information among the people that have a passion for motorcycling. To me, that's one of the things I try to share on the channel is when you have a day, and of course the heat, an extra day of drying this up, that'll be in our advantage. And the next thing is going to be to, well, I've got to decide if I want to do anything, if there's any spots I want to touch up before I put it all back together, or if I want to buff it out or not. It doesn't look like that needs to be buffed out to me. But sometime I just want to see how the paint is going to buff out. No, I'll leave that for tomorrow. That'll be a decision I don't have to make right now. I want to get that paint on while we have a sunny day. And I always think by the information we share on the channel, you don't think it's real important to know this, that, or the other thing, till all of a sudden one day, that's a problem you have, and then you realize, oh, I saw that on a year ago or a month ago or whatever, or on the train to Brisbane. Stephen, good luck with your project. So the next part of this, I want to get some Sikkens M600. Wipe this all down thoroughly, make sure there's no fingerprints on it, get it all prepped up, and by then it'll be warm enough I can head out to the garage, check out the battery chargers. Trying to keep all the bikes ready to go so when the snow melts up, if we do get a couple of decent days, surprise, surprise, we even can get a ride in. We haven't ridden in a long time. Now, because Stephen had that orange peel issue, and that orange peel, and I did send him a detailed thing of stuff to try. Thin the paint a little more, use lower pressure. Try not to paint under some maybe really hot or really cold shop conditions where you have to deal with the temperatures paint is made to work at is 70 degrees. So if it's 20 degrees, like I like to paint, it's got to be above freezing. Maybe it was colder out there, although they're in summer over there, so I don't know. But anyway, I want to make sure this is perfectly clean, because again, this is the part of the job that's really a lot of people skip over. They don't get the bond. Now Luciano put this paint on, so I hope this is okay. But it had so much orange peel. If I were to paint over this, that paint would have been, I mean, somebody would, there's a lot of people I know that would have said, oh, that's fine, it's nice and shiny. But when I look at it, and if in the future I'm going to see this bike a lot, this is a keeper bike. Every time I look at it, I'm going to go, why didn't I spend that extra couple hours getting it all dressed off and get it right? And that's always a thing. Hard to explain to people is a foundation of a house, like they're just doing over at the construction site for the kids. You got to get the foundation. This is the foundation. This has to be attached. And I know he took all the the old paint off, I think with stripper, but I'm not sure. And he sanded it. I hope, again, it's his bike, so I really have to, you know what'll happen. I'll repaint it if it does come off. But anyway, we'll get this all done for him. And this is going to be, I think, of all the bikes he has and all the bikes I've ridden of his, this is one of the ones I really like. So he's got the clear, and again, I didn't, not to make a big deal out of this, but I have never used this primer. But it is heavy duty primer. Maybe this is made for that application. And if you use filler primer, that's made for body work where you have really problems with the body work and you want to block sand it in. But I would go back, if I were using it, I were buying it, I would use my primer. But again, this might be good for a real heavy duty application. Anyway, we have the paint. I want to make sure, and okay, this is Gavin's paint. Let's see if it's thinned. Yep, it's already thinned. How can I tell? I just by the sound of the paint. Anyway, we'll load up the gun. And, well, I think before I load up the gun, I'll go have a cup of coffee. It's still pretty cold out there. I've been getting up real early to work on this stuff. So if you want to know the real secrets of painting, this is one of them. And when the coffee gets down to the bottom, we buy this by the case from BJ's, by the case. It's really good coffee. And Karen likes it, and if I don't drink this, it seems like nothing gets done around the house. So I'll have my coffee, head out to the garage, flip those battery chargers, and we'll be ready to go. It's a bright sunny day. It's coming up above freezing. It'll probably be up there. Within an hour we'll be ready to go. And keeping these bikes all fully charged is job one here in the winter. I like to make sure every one of them is on charge. See what it does, it's like a fantasy for me. I always think I'm going to wake up in the morning, it's going to be 70 degrees outside or something. Or a rideable day. Well, you know, it's a fantasy, but I've got to come out here every morning and flip them. I do it 3-4 times a day. Keep them charged. Now, if you're new to the channel, we do try to post something every day. We've been working on that tank, and yesterday I posted up some of the things that might help you design or execute a really custom paint job, very similar to what we did with the FZR. All that information is out on the channel, and today we hope we're going to add to that. And I had a lot of information that I thought is useful for people that, number one, want to design a custom paint job that's unique, or they have a thing in their mind and they just want to have some shortcuts on how to do it. I think all of that is on the last 2 days of this. And today, we actually get to put some paint on the tank and hope that weather holds out. So, you know, I don't need a bright sunny day to get this, put the wheel back on and take the back wheel off. I can leave that go for a separate day. The whole point of everything is I don't want to waste a day that's paintable because there aren't that many of them this time of year. And I've gotten a lot of beautiful emails from people that really think I'm taking the MT-09 in the right direction, and hopefully the wheels are going to be the final part, and those custom graphics by John Pothier. Every part of this it's just something that it's evolved, and the wheels are going to be the final part of it. But we're going to take a break from our project today, do some work for our friend Luciano. This is pretty funny. We have icicles hanging, icicles on our paint table. What does that tell you? If you live in a warm weather climate, you don't know what you're missing. And believe me, you're not missing much. You're not missing anything at all. It's cold out here. And there's always a way you can tell you're going to get a lot done in the course of that day. And there's the way you do it. That means we're going to get extra work done today. So I wanted to make sure the paint was the right consistency, and it looked like there was thinner in the paint already. So I never want to start out with too much thinner because I didn't have any other black paint to add to it. I got the mix pretty much right, went out, took my little test piece, and always tape up the top of these inexpensive guns that I use just to avoid dripping in the driveway. And this tank, I wanted to get the bottom of it painted because there was a lot of rust, and not really rust where it would be right through the tank, but there's some areas that if you don't get some paint on them, there's a good chance years from now you'll have a problem. So because we're working on it, we may as well do it right now and get it done. Now this day, it started out being, the report was going to be, it was going to get warmer. It really didn't get a lot warmer. It was a little bit above freezing, but it never really warmed up, and that's unusual for a sunny day, but it didn't stop me from getting the paint. Now this paint needed at least 2 coats, and I was really thinking black, it'll just cover in 1 coat. Not really. Now, because this is the stuff that you never know until you actually go to paint something how the paint's going to cover. And this case here, I'm just looking at exactly how this worked out. It worked out great. We got the 2 coats on, and when I stopped after the first coat to check it out, I looked, you know, and I'm spraying very dry here, thin, dry coats, no orange peel. Now, like I always do, when I get a coat of paint on, I like to look at it from every possible angle, see if I have any errors or something I have to fix. Of course, this was with the wind blowing the way it was really howling toward the end. But that's always the way it is around here. It's just par for the course. So after the first coat, what I did, because it was really getting cold out there, I wanted to make sure that the paint was going to dry properly, get a little warm air on it with the hairdryer. And that had worked well on when I did the wheel. It seemed to help a little bit. Well, I had another cup of coffee and get out there and get the final coat on. And this paint, I don't know why. I always think black covers in 1 coat. This paint didn't cover in 1 coat. I don't know. But you can see the wind is really blowing along there. And to be fair, I was putting it on very thin. I'm so used to now painting everything very thin. Well, despite some pretty bizarre conditions, that wind was howling. Holy mackerel. I did get 2 coats of black on this. I think that's going to be fine. It's going to have to dry, obviously, overnight minimum. But I don't know, because I want to work on the MT-09. I'm going to flip back and forth. But the next step on this is going to be to back mask off the black and paint the white. We've covered that on a previous video. And I got some nice outtakes from videos, the other paint jobs that we worked on, that I think have good, interesting information, as well as that thing about the orange peel. I want to put a little storyboard. I did a storyboard yesterday of what orange peel really is and some of the things you can do to cure it. This is really good information. I'm not sure other people haven't posted it on YouTube, but I haven't seen it in a lot of places. This is good information. Now, this might be real helpful to some people who have experienced having something orange peel. For people who don't know what orange peel is, the paint dries like that. Or if you rub your hand on it, it feels like 80 grit rough sandpaper anyway. So that's what orange peel really is. But what causes it is, if here's the spray gun, and just make a little, here's the part you're painting. Well, all these little droplets of paint, what's happening? The paint is thick. It doesn't have enough thinner in it, or it has, what some people don't realize is they put in inexpensive thinner, fast dry. And what happens to these, here's the gun, they're drying into a bunch of little, look like golf balls if you looked under a microscope. And so that's what causes this. Now, that's the basic cause of it. Of course, there may be some other reason, there's some other thing. This is not rocket science. To make this better, you can use, this is the things I suggested to Stephen. Less pressure. Less pressure is always the first thing to try. Now, the problem is everybody's gun and where you measure the pressure. If you measure it at the compressor, on my compressor, it shows 40 pounds. If I measure it at the gun, it's 25 because I have a 100-foot hose. Well, the reality is you either want to do less or more. If you're having an issue like this, the first thing to try is less pressure. And then I always suggest, this is the other thing, is replace the thinner with mid-temp. Not slow dry. Slow dry is going to, you'd like to get the situation that you're using mid-temp thinner if possible. That's always one of the things that'll make it better in every way that it can be better. So just reducing the pressure, make the material itself thinner. An example would be if you're mixing, most of the modern paints get mixed 50-50, mix it 60-40. And just add a little bit of thinner, a little bit of thinner. And always, this is always the thing that's really good. This is the one that really matters. Do a test part. So another thing, you've got this surface now that's rough and like 80 grit paper because you've already put that on, which is exactly what we just experienced yesterday on yesterday's video. And of course we're posting every day. It's easy for me to reference these. So what I did, that primer went on very, very thick. I just sanded it with 400 to the point where it's smoother. 400 is a good grit because it leaves enough of a tooth. You can then get another coat of primer on it, hopefully is going to be exactly what you want. Now in this case, I painted the black right over because the primer sanded out so nice. But knowing that you have this and what basically causes it, what you can do to make it better, and then if all else fails, you have to sand it out and just put another coat of paint on. Good solid information. But here's some stuff from our previous videos that I think you'll find interesting and fun. Now this is I think some excellent information. I don't know how many other people have published similar things out on YouTube. To get to these videos and watch them in full length, you type in my name in quotation marks and then the word Benelli. And this is a repair we did for Vlad. You can see there's a big piece of the fairing missing. So what I had to do is make a template from the other side, the other piece of the fairing, and I had to replicate. I had to make the piece that was missing. So, and if you watch the video in full length, and I think it's about a half an hour, 45 minutes, you can see in detail how it's done. I wanted to take a few outtakes, just a few minutes, because a lot of people don't know that this information is out there. Now, if you had an R6, a very common motorcycle, or a Suzuki, or whatever, and you could just go buy this part off the internet at some reasonable price, well, it wouldn't pay to go through this work. But I do the jobs that are a little bit tougher than just going out to eBay and buying a part. And I showed how I did this by using aircraft plywood, among other things, carbon fiber, cyanoacrylate, which is abbreviated as CA, and it's a thing I've done for Vlad, I've done it for Luciano, I've done it for Glenn, for I don't know if there's anybody I haven't done it for, that when you break a part of a fairing and you can't get it some reasonable way, or if you can get it at an unreasonable price. Now, Benelli parts, this in itself is a very rare bike, and I think the parts were, from what I understood from Vlad, they're either very, very expensive or unobtainable, period. So it paid for me to make this part. That's the point. Now, how I made it, I did it as if it was an aeroplane, and I was making it from a buck from the back and then from the front. Now, a lot of people are familiar and can do carbon fiber repairs up to a point. They can do the structural part of it, but in this case, it's hard to get the cosmetic part. That when you're all done, that paint is a perfect match. Now, I remember this being a very challenging job because it's silver. It's like the wheels on the MT-09. When you paint anything silver, it has got to be perfect, absolutely perfect. Silver shows every mistake. Unlike white, if you paint something white, you can get away with murder. Black, silver, not so much. Now, and again, the full-length video is out on my channel along with 2,400 other videos. And this is information I don't think is commonly available on YouTube. There's probably other people that have done similar things. I have never run into it. And that's why I was enthusiastic about posting this, because there are people that have these bikes, they're collector bikes. The parts are not available, or they're old bikes like Dale has. Bikes that you just can't run off and get the part from. And then the ultimate thing is to put that finish on, and putting the finish after the structure is gone. And you can see that's sanded inside and out. That's a real art, and that's something that I think the people that really want to do this, and I did this for Vlad, I know he has a passion for this, and you know what? I have a passion for it too. Now, this is a few outtakes from the FZR Restoration, which went over many, many, many days and 900 hours. But of course, we had to start somewhere. And in this case, I thought one of the things that's worth showing, these are parts I bought brand new to replace the parts that were on the bike. This was gel coat. And a lot of people have no idea how to prepare a gel coat for paint. Now, if you were to just go out and paint over as the factory sends this to you, it probably isn't going to stick real good because they've used mold release to get that part out of the mold. So using a degreasing agent, using simple green, and most of all, using some sandpaper. I like 400 grit. Luciano seems to agree that's the way to do a gel coat part. And by sanding it with 400, a hard block first, and get all the high spots down. The hard block only knocks down the mountaintops. And again, all of the sanding is with 400 grit. Now, once you're done with the hard block, the next thing is to take the soft block. That'll just let it go down into the valley just a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. But needless to say, by the end of it, the final thing is you sand by hand. And just block sanding it down, even with the soft block, tends to get rid of all the little imperfections, any of the little things that are in the gel coat. But one of the more important things a lot of people don't do is radius all the edges. That's where paint tends to crack and peel, just like you polish connecting rods in a race car, because a crack starts at a razor edge. So having all the edges, having a good quality primer, in this case I wanted to use primer sealer, but you probably could get away with the self-etching primer too. I primed this all up, and this was part of a really long restoration that went through the whole winter, and I'm guessing 9 or 10 months of really intensive work. But when I was all done with it, and there's the bike, when it was red, it was the Ferrari bike, and at the end of this, it became the bike that I have now with the Kenny Roberts yellow ladder paint job on it. And because this was a bike that I had track dayed for many years, I had many, many miles. I think it had about 36,000 at this point. And I really do enjoy riding this bike. It is a scary bike to ride. The power comes on hard at about 10 grand. And it's just a bike that's very, very entertaining to ride in my collection. And that 900 hours went by very quick. Now, there were a few years we were using 5-star clear, and that worked great. And we're using other brands now, but they all these modern paints seem to be real good, and some of them a little bit better than others, maybe in certain circumstances, but for our use, they all seem to work. Now, this is a good reminder to me why every time I look at this video, I remember why I paint things in the winter. This was a day I could have gone riding. A beautiful summer day. You can see we're in t-shirts. Hey, we're not in t-shirts today. I like to work when I know it's a day I can't ride, because I like to ride every day I possibly can. Now, this was a thing for Vlad, a special job. He had a little accident. This is his track bike, the Suzuki 750. Had a little accident. We did a little repair on it, and I just wanted to get him back out on the track. And he's been a great friend many, many years. But right now, I have to say, I do not like, and it reminds me every day, I do not like losing riding days to even work on my own bike. I would much rather work in the winter. And the truth is, in our part of the country, we only have so many riding days, and if you give them up working on motorcycles, you don't ever get them back again. That's the way it is. Now, I really feel my effort at recording and publishing all these videos, some people say, oh, what are you doing it for? Oh, that nobody watches, nobody cares, nobody cares. Well, at some point in time, and it happened to me today, I was trying to get a couple little outtakes for the end of this video, and here I am, and I'm going through some of it. This is a little repair we did with an airbrush, and I wanted to share this whole thing with overspray. You can eliminate a lot of it by using an airbrush or by setting your gun to be like an airbrush. That helps a lot. And this information, technical, good information to share among friends or share among people we've never even met before. And if they don't enjoy it, well, I don't have anything to say about that. But every once in a while, and today, it just happened today, I'm looking through an old video and I stumble upon something that brought a tear to my eye. And while I was doing this repair, Bob NEVOLA stopped by, the late Bob NEVOLA, with his son to show me the new bike he just bought his son.
Saved your butt again, I understand. It looks great. We're going to have to rubberize it, so if you drop it again, it'll bounce. All right?
So listen, Max just got his first bike. It's out in front of the house. We're going to go look at it. Bob NEVOLA's son. I'm sure everybody recognizes. And this is, I donated, Luciano had donated a leather jacket to me. I have a spare now. I donated it to Max, and until he gets his one-piece leather suit with his name on the back. And
yeah.
Don't touch Mark's tank. Oh my God, let's go look at your bike.
Yeah.
We come back, the tank will be melted like a candle. So look, there's my paint table over there. That's why I'm painting on a garbage can. That's my paint table. Hey, where's my paint table? Hey. Wow, that looks nice. It looks like the same paint Mark's bike is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's clean as a whistle.
I know.
Holy
It's got a
mackerel.
little thing, you know, this is from being in the garage.
Ah, that doesn't matter.
Against the wall in the city.
Nice.
You
That
know?
doesn't matter.
That's it. That's pretty much it.
Wow, that is beautiful.
Chain's got good shape. It's only got like not even
1360.
Not even 1,400 miles on it.
1,400?
1360.
1360.
Yep.
The rubber's good.
What year is the tire made though?
And it's probably original. It's a 2000.
Yeah, but original tires, they're probably dry by now. What year is this bike?
2004.
It's an 04. Okay, so it could be 13-year-old tires on it.
Yeah.
Check the made date. Look at the date on it. Yeah, because that's real Kawasaki weights. That might be the real tires that came with it.
The original tire, yeah. Yeah.
The chain is even adjusted. Wow. Boy, that's a nice little bike. That is really cool.
Did I give you the car keys or did I put them in the house?
I have the car keys.
Oh, you do. I was like, oh, the car.
Really nice.
Nice, huh, Kara?
Yeah.
You want to start up?
Yeah, start it up. I want to hear
Going
it.
inside. Lots of luggage.
No, don't start it. The muffler's on it. You'll burn us.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We'll hear it run when I come up to your house.
Bye bye, honey.
See ya.
You did well for yourself.
That looks nice.
On the mother's wheels.
That feels solid.
I bet.
Yeah, they said it was in the garage for almost an entire lifetime before the new one bought it. She bought it last spring.
Yeah.
So
You know what would be a great thing to do is have Luciano take it for a little ride. And if there's anything feels a little like, I don't think those tires don't, I want to see the date they were made.
I was trying to find it. And
2913? 13, 5 years old? 4 years old?
yeah, 5-year-old.
2913. They're 5-year-old tires. Wow, that's not too bad. I mean, if you're going to do a track day, you want to get tires, but that's
Right.
riding around in the street, that's fine.
Yeah.
The instruments are clean. I'm sure everything works. It looks like they're brand new.
Yeah.
Still has a little sticker on it.
Wow. Wow.
The muffler's still attached.
The muffler's attached to the strap. You'll burn up the cord, the thing.
I guess we'll untie it.
Now your dad has a buffer. You know, I gave him a buffer for his birthday.
I have to learn how to-
No, he's got to learn how to
You
use
mean like
it.
the one I used to buff up my dad's?
Yeah. Paybacks are a bitch. That is nice. That's
Look,
one of the
I mean,
cleanest
it-
250s I've seen.
It was, you know, it's been
Wow.
on the road. She had it titled and registered, so she was commuting on it.
Yeah. Started right up.
Yeah. Oh, started up without even hitting your choke.
Yeah, and Max, do yourself a favor. Don't take these off. Don't put those little baby things you can't see. While you're learning how to ride, you want to have some blinkers on a bike.
So,
All right.
might as well start it up.
Yeah, but just don't let that cook your strap there.
Yeah, this side.
Don't worry about that. Leave it alone.
There's a muffler on this side as well.
Excitement never ends here. Mark, it looks like we have salvaged your tank. I'm not sure we have, but
Looks good to me.
we'll see when he pays the bill if the check bounces.
Yeah, you do
He
that.
pays me in Zwarties or something. Yeah, that is really nice. Now a 250 Ninja is a real nice bike to learn how to ride on. Chris, if your son was interested in a bike, this is the type of bike you should get him. So it actually worked out great that you didn't get the VFR.
Oh, absolutely.
And this worked out big to your favor. And you got a free leather jacket that has been worn by world champion Luciano Felici.
Yeah.
This is a little weird here.
What's the matter? Keys not work?
Well,
There may be two different keys, one for the thing and one for the gas.
no. It's just that it's on the lock position, so I think it's jammed because of bikes in tied up. We can loosen it up.
What a great way to end the video. We salvaged Mark's part. Max gets a bike and a leather jacket.
And a leather jacket. And the bike starts after we bought it.
And Max drops the bike, puts it in reverse, and backs off the trailer.
Wait, what?
What?
Ends up going viral.
AFV, huh?
So Max, you are now officially a ninja. And being perfectly honest, over my many 76 years, I've been blessed to know a lot of wonderful people. Bob NEVOLA and his family certainly fit that bill. And here I am in the middle of a freezing cold day working on motorcycles, and I'm looking at videos that are several years old, and I stumble upon something that brought a tear to my eye. And Mark went on to really enjoy this bike, and this was an amazing repair. But all of that stuff is out on the channel. All of the memories, maybe you'll stumble upon something too. It's actually, when you think about it in one way, it's my life's work. Whether I like it or not, it is. And speaking of my life's work, recording all these rides that we've gone on, I try to always record my friends, because you never know, the time you have with your friends can be very precious at times. And as we get older, in my case, 76 years, you never know how precious that's going to be the next time you look at it. Today, I stumbled upon that thing with Bob NEVOLA, that couple minutes of footage, and when Karen and I watched it, we had a tear in our eye. And I really, honest to God, Bob was one special person in every way you can be special, and a great friend. And we did so many things. The biggest thing I remember was we were on a ride when it was all raining and pouring out and everything, and 4 or 5 of us, and he called home and he asked his beautiful wife Nanda, make us a cup of coffee. And when we got to his house, the garage door was open. There were donuts there and cookies and coffee. And Nanda, oh God, we miss Bobby. I know you do. We all do. It's just a shame. I have a tear in my eye as I'm editing out the end of this video. Well, we do try to post something up here every day. Useful information is the goal, and some good nostalgia of friends that we've had along the way. Hope you're one of them. I do try to edit the videos so they're fun and non-political, and I try to increase my enjoyment of motorcycling every time I ride. And thanks so much for watching.